Now, let's hope, because we saw the other day, and I chatted to Matt Canavan about this the other evening, we did see the coalition fighting in that last Parliament, yes, coming out united against the energy bill. So let's hope we're going to see in 2023 the coalition fighting a determined attack on this socialist government, because Lordy knows we need it, James.
Okay, no. Yep. Well, sorry, James.
No,
they came out fighting against it. You would have been there to witness it all. Have they abandoned their net zero position?
Of course not, no.
No, so sorry.
They have to abandon net zero, absolutely.
You actually have to have a coherent argument.
They have to abandon net zero and they have to embrace nuclear, or nuclear, as Chris Bowen calls it.
They have embraced nuclear in the coalition's defence. They have said they are going to embrace it.
They're thinking about it.
No, they said they're for it. You have to give them that. But no, the net zero thing, you're absolutely right, because, when is the time to have this argument? Is it now, or is it when things really start to bite and when things really start to hurt and when you are talking about even further interventions? You heard Anthony Albanese and Chris Bowen talking this week about England's, UK's price caps on energy bills. Now, and they're saying, they're a Tory government doing that. That's a great thing. And it's like, well, we are now just seriously talking about even more market interventions in people's lives, and which will always create energy shortages, always and everywhere. Every time you cap prices, you interfere with the market like this, you will create more of the problem you're trying to alleviate. The time to have this discussion about net zero is now. It is not next winter. Next winter, when things are going to be ridiculously painful in this country.
And how good would the coalition look if they came out absolutely saying, we've changed our mind on net zero, that was a mistake, all our problems are due to net zero. They would then have a lever with which to smash the Albanese government, because trust me, folks, we're heading into some very rough economic times ahead, potentially a global recession. People will be looking towards those politicians who had the nous to realise what was coming and have the nous to realise how to get out of it. And sitting around doing the Bowen route is absolutely heading for disaster. Look around the world, Rita. You just have to look at Europe. You have to look at the States. Everywhere this approach has been tried, it has failed.
It has, because it actually, failure is part of the process. This is the design. They want our living standards to be... If it was about reducing emissions and maintaining living standards, then you would push nuclear, and that would be a global thing. That would be purely the only way you can achieve drastic emission cuts without decimating people's living standards. They're not. So I don't think, that is something that troubles the people who are pushing this most strongly. The fact that
we could be the world's leading nuclear industry.
Stop you right there. The rest of the world actually is, Rita, going down nuclear. In Finland, the Greens Party has said, we believe nuclear power is the way forward. The Greens.
Are you saying
Finland,
Prime Minister Ace of Base?
Yeah. Well, she's not a Green, I don't think. But here's a policy the coalition should take to the next election. They should say, yes, we will close the coal-fired power stations, and what we will do is we will put in their place small modular reactors, which you can get in containers, put them together, just add water. They're very safe. They're very cost-effective. They're being used around the world. And here's the other thing. You can plug them straight into the transmission grid, which already exists, because the other secret of this whole renewable effort is that you need this massive expansion of the transmission grid, because you have to put these things all these different places, and you've basically got to have triple the capacity that you do now to keep the lights on. People don't realize how close New South Wales came earlier this year to the lights going off across the state. This is where we are going, and this is where we'll go next winter, next summer. The more of these assets are taken offline.
Yeah, you're 100% correct. And even better than that, James, is that you could have these small nuclear modules in where we have the existing power stations, coal stations. That gives you the access to the transmission immediately. That gives you the workforce that's already there. We could turn this around in a few years. Literally, within the decade, Australia could be one of the leading nuclear powers on the planet.
Well,
and we are guaranteed wealth and prosperity. We've got it all here. And the sheer stupidity of the Bowen approach of pushing more and more renewables, covering half the Northern Territory in solar panels, which will have to be dug up and disposed of and buried in 10 or 20 years' time, is just farcical. Sorry, Rita.
It is, but you can't just put the blame on the Albanese government, because, yes, they are turbocharging the madness, but It started with the previous lot.
We
The
know that,
previous
yep.
lot could have devoted some of the billions that have gone into renewables into nuclear. But no, they were too scared because, the greenies and the media are going to attack us. Here's a bit of advice. Doesn't matter how far left you go. Look at what happened in Victoria. The media will always attack the coalition. You can be the wokest, left-leaning coalition version of yourself,
still
Matt
cactus.
Keane.
You're
You will
cactus.
still be attacked. So
Cactus.
do not try to appease people who hate you. Do not try to form policies that are palatable to the media. That ain't going to get a coalition
And what
government
have we
elected.
seen? And what have we seen in other countries? We've seen Glenn Youngkin in Virginia, Ron DeSantis in Florida. You're right, Rita, because you can go out there
Maloney.
Georgia Maloney.
Yeah.
You can go out there and you can make Matt Keane look like Attila the Hun with your policies, and you are still going to get rinsed by the press.